So with the introduction of the Switch release of VIVIDLOPE comes a new character, Miss Noir, who has greatly impacted the speedrun, but today I want to go over specifically one little trick that we found, well specifically another member of the speedrunning community named Mayzmae. They found that there's a trick we can do with Miss Noir's abilities. So really quickly I'm going to go over what her abilities are and then explain the trick that was found. So we'll just jump into a level real quick. Alright, so Miss Noir has a couple abilities. Whenever her power meter on the left hand side is past the club icon, she can activate a couple abilities. By pressing X, she can shoot a fireball that'll destroy enemies in front of her. The other ability is if I hold the ZL button and press A, she does a dash. Unfortunately, I can't really show any inputs for any of this because I'm playing on Switch and there's no way for me to demonstrate the inputs. Another ability she has is if I press A to jump and then X in midair, she does the pound that's equivalent to the impact item right here. But the most important one is if we press and hold ZL and press X, she will shoot a line in front of her. This is very akin to the wrap paper item I have here. If I press it, it paints a line in front of her. So the ability that she has that is the equivalent to wrap paper is very strong and is very useful for creating straight lines. However, to activate this, she has to hold the ZL button, which in this game is the walk button. So I'm holding ZL right now, you can see the speed at which she's going at, but if I let go, you can see suddenly how much faster she moves. So what we end up having to do is to do the equivalent of wrap paper strafing, which is a different technique in the game that I have a different video on that I'll link in the description. With the wrap paper item, if we press and hold the Y button on the Switch controller, notice how she's not throwing it anymore, but if I move to the next tile up while still holding the Y button, the moment I get onto another tile, she will throw the wrap paper. Now, this same mechanic does apply to her ability for the wrap paper. So if I hold ZL and press X, she'll shoot a line, but then if I move forward, notice how if I get onto a tile, I can just start pressing the X button again while still holding the ZL to have the chain sort of go. And here I can hold both to keep the chain going. The downside to her doing it this way is because we're having to hold the walk button, she goes at a much slower speed. So I'll demonstrate this again. So if I press and hold both of them, notice the speed at which she's going. It's not very fast. So I'll just clear it and then I'll show you what the speed at which using wrap paper is like. So if I were to use the wrap paper item, you can see just how much faster she moves. It's a little hard to gauge because Miss Noir's downside is she doesn't get as many uses of items, so instead of getting 12 wrap papers, she gets only 4. But this is where the discovery from Mayzmae comes from. So here, when we start her chain for the her ability, instead of holding the ZL button, I instead hold the X button to activate the item. And now if I move and I press the ZL button, then it initiates the action again. So right now I'm only holding the X button, and then as I move over tiles and I press the ZL button, then she throws her equivalent of wrap paper. Now what does this mean? This basically allows her to move at the speed at which normal wrap paper moves. So you can see how much faster I'm going just by being able to mash it instead. That is essentially the trick that has been found. We're calling it Noir quick strafing, where you hold the X button and then you press the ZL button as you go over new tiles to paint in those ones. There is a bit of a quirk with it where if we want to change directions, we have to let go. So if I want to change then pointing down, what I have to do is I have to let go of the X button, and now I have to start the whole new chain by pressing the ZL and the X button again. But now once I've thrown the first one, then I can just start the next chain by letting go of the ZL button and then proceeding to go back to just holding the X and mashing the ZL as I get over tiles I want to color in. But that's basically it. If you want to check out some of the other stuff that we found, I'll leave links to the other videos in the description. But yeah, that's it.